If you're like me, you don't like to tempt fate. You don't get out much, you're constantly wary of anyone new you may meet, and you avoid playing dark rituals, all in an effort to prolong the inevitable death. It sounds a bit morbid, but it's true. That's why I stick to horror films, one of the easiest ways to get a cheap thrill. It is this kind of mentality that makes me wonder why people think it is a good idea to participate in such rituals like the Midnight Game. Regardless of my thoughts on the matter, let's get to the ritual. The Midnight Game is deemed by many the most dangerous game you will ever play. It is believed that the Midnight Game was an old pagan ritual. Apparently, back then, it couldn't even be considered a game, more like a punishment. It is surmised that the ritual was a punishment for those that would disobey the word of the gods when paganism was huge. Despite this claim not having much historical backing, many assume it to be true, while those that don't play the game for some kind of thrill, as this game is in fact popular with most thrill seekers. From this point forward, I will describe how to play this game and what you are getting yourself into. Through my research, I discovered one common notion: do not play this game. But if you don't care, or are just that valiant, proceed at your own risk. To start, you need at least one player. The game can be played with more, most sources claiming the cap for players stops at 6. In order to start the ritual, you need the following: 1 candle, 1 lighter or book of matches, something to prick yourself with, like a pin, needle, or any sharp tool, 1 piece of paper, a tool to write, 1 wooden door, and some salt. The ritual is essentially split into 3 parts: the invitation, the main event, and the ending. So let's start with the invitation. The invitation. You have to begin the following before midnight. You are to write your full name on a piece of paper, first, middle, and last. Afterwards, prick your finger with your sharp tool until you see some blood. Squeeze until a drop of blood runs out of your finger, and dab it on a piece of paper, and allow it to soak in. When that is done, turn off every light in your home. Go over to your wooden door, and place the paper with your name and blood on it by the door. Then, light your candle using your matches or lighter, and proceed to place it on top of your paper. When you are done with that, knock on the door 22 times. You have to make sure the final knock happens exactly when the clock hits 12 a.m. Open the door and blow out your candle. Wait 12 seconds and close the door, relighting your candle immediately when you do. All players must perform the invitation individually. Congratulations, you have now invited the Midnight Man into your residence. The invitation brings forth an entity known as the Midnight Man. The ultimate goal of the game boils down to you avoiding the Midnight Man at all costs. If you move continuously throughout your house, it will make it difficult for the Midnight Man to actually catch you. On that note, if you do stop moving for whatever reason, the Midnight Man will get you. As for what happens when the Midnight Man finds you, well, accounts differ. Some people claim that he will take you to a purgatory-like dimension, a place that no one can find you. Somewhere that will be difficult to get out of, where you will face creatures beyond imagination, or just starve to death while finding a way out. Other people claim the Midnight Man will simply induce severe hallucinations on the participants. He will make you see your worst fears as the night goes on, possibly even after. Lastly, and by far the most gruesome, he will tear out your organs, one by one, until the game ends. Moving on to the main event, there are some things to keep in mind. During the game, make sure you have your candle in hand, and your salt and matches or lighter nearby. If your candle goes out, then you must relight it within the next 10 seconds. If you manage to do so, continue moving around your house. Do not stop moving until the game ends. If you do not relight your candle, within the given time limit. Surround yourself with the salt. Remain within the circle, and do not step outside, no matter what you hear, see, smell, or feel. Stay within the circle until the game ends. While playing the game, be aware of the signs that indicate the Midnight Man may be near. These signs include sudden drops in temperature, the sound of a soft whisper with no discernible source, the appearance of a humanoid figure within the darkness, or the candle going out. If you experience any of the first three, then keep moving to another room to stay away from the Midnight Man. If you experience the fourth, then do what I stated earlier. Relight your candle within the next 10 seconds. The third part to the ritual is the end. The game ends at 3:33 a.m. At that point, it is safe to stop moving or step outside your circle of salt. At this point, you may also turn on the light should you wish, and you may also go about your night. The game is over. Just to keep some things in mind, I heed you pay attention to the following. Do not turn on any lights during the game. Do not use a flashlight during the game. Do not go to sleep during the game. Do not use a lighter instead of a candle during the game. Do not use a person's blood other than your own during the game. Do not attempt to leave your home during the game. Do not attempt to provoke the Midnight Man during the game. Lastly, and perhaps the most important thing to remember, do not assume the Midnight Man has left your home for good. He may still be inside your residence. Well, with that out of the way, let me leave you with this little factoid. Did you know? The Midnight Game actually got a movie based on the ritual, appropriately titled The Midnight Game.